There we go. All right, well, post-game Huskers, different mindset this time. We expected that, obviously, facing Fordham, but a much better game for the Huskers overall, regardless of the opponent, just everything they were able to do. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was what we should have done, right? But at the same time, we could also be sitting here and complaining that we won by 14 points, which it was kind of looking that way at the beginning. It wasn't too good, but Nebraska really hit their stride. They hit some nice passes, and they figured out a way to get some offense going. So at the end of the day, it was pretty enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, and the first person I want to shout out, Ryan Greenhagen. I mean, 30 tackles. Like,
Oh, dude, that was man.
what is going on? The dude was everywhere. 30 tackles, 13 solo is what his final total was. He was all over the place, making a ton of plays. But yeah, I mean, kind of what you're saying. I got some stats that are going to be flowing across the bottom. I'm Zach with Fifth Quarter Football, Chris with Husker Hype. I mean, it was good to see so many different guys get in too. The Huskers ran the ball so much. I thought at the beginning, when I was watching the game, I thought that the O-line was sloppy run blocking. I thought it wasn't good. They couldn't get a push. There was still nothing besides Martinez making the plays that you should against a team of that caliber in the passing game. But Martinez looked a lot better. And then it seemed like that offensive line got it going a bit. And then maybe at halftime, I know that Frost said something going in about starting off the right way, and it looked like the defense had a ton of fire. Maybe the offensive line got a little talking to too because they looked different. And then it also added in, you got a guy like Stepp who's just getting extra yards every single time.
Yeah. Yeah, that first off, that Fordham linebacker, I mean, hats off to him. That dude was an absolute warrior. I mean, he basically had to be dragged off the field at the end. I mean, that was insane performance. So hats off to him. Yeah, it was kind of tough to see Nebraska not be able to run the ball at the beginning of the game, but at the same time, I guess any team that faces Nebraska this year probably needs to come into the game with that determination to stop the run and make them throw. And Nebraska had to throw today, and they did successfully. I thought Stepp had a great game. I thought going into this game, Stepp was our number one guy. I think leaving this game, Stepp is our number one guy. I think what you kind of saw today was those top three guys. You saw the first six series. They did 1, 2, 3, and then they did it again. They did Urban Stepp, and Morrison in a row those first three series. So I think they're probably using this game to determine who is that guy going forward. And in my opinion, it's Stepp. And I think that going into Buffalo, you see him get the brunt of the carries moving forward.
Yeah, I didn't see a ton from Irvin. I thought that, he wasn't helped out by the offensive line, really not creating anything for him. But he really couldn't get going. I would have liked to see him get some carries later in that game when Nebraska brought in some of those backups. That's a good time for a freshman to get in there and get some carries. Maybe he could have broke a couple runs, those 8 or 9 yard runs, and gotten some confidence, because so far this year you haven't really seen anything from Irvin that would, make him confident in the backfield, besides the fact that he technically won the job. But, right now I think it's Stepp's job to lose, like you said. I was really impressed with Toure today. I mean, that was awesome to see. I know been hyping him up in the offseason, finally have an NFL-type receiver. And you just didn't see him do a ton in the first week, but you finally see him just getting the ball in the run game too. I thought that was, a nice added addition right there in that triple option pistol setup. You get him going, and then he seemed like he was open the entire day. And it seemed like everybody was. Those routes that Nebraska, maybe they're finally starting to develop, and Martinez is starting to get those reads, but then again, it's tough to judge it because it's Fordham. But they looked a lot better. They did what they were expected to do, which is a good thing, regardless of Nebraska fans out there that are saying, it doesn't matter, it's Fordham. Well, they did what they were supposed to do, and I think that's exactly what Nebraska fans should be happy about. Heading into a game against Buffalo, we saw a good Buffalo look too last week, or I guess a couple days ago.
Yeah, yeah. I think Buffalo won like 69-7 or something like that. I mean, they played nobody too, but I mean, we did also. So I expect Buffalo to be a really good game, but I think that we can build off today. I thought, like you said, Toure had a great game. Yeah, he was wide open, and hats off to him to be getting wide open. But then, Martinez hasn't been able to hit guys traditionally wide open, and he was able to do that today. So hopefully that gives Martinez some confidence moving forward, and he can keep delivering the ball with that type of accuracy and moving it that way. I thought Jaquez Yant looked kind of nice there at the end. I wonder if they can't maybe find a way to get him the ball on some short yardage situations a little bit more. And then going back to your point with the option, I thought that looked really nice. I thought it looked nice with Martinez, and I think Smothers ran it pretty well. Martinez, he has his downsides here and there, but man, he can pitch the ball really well, and I think he does great. I think he really does great with his eyes and the option. I mean, he took a big hit on that one, but it was a beautiful pitch, and he ditched at the last second. So I mean, that's a great component to their game. And like I said, I thought Smothers ran it well too, except for maybe that last one where he should have gone down instead of trying to make something more out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you make a good point. Martinez, he waits till the last second because he's fine with taking that hit, but it ends up resulting in a bigger gain for the Huskers, setting up Toure for that touchdown. Smothers came in. You got to see a little bit of him as well. But I don't even know if Martinez made a bad pass today, the more I think about it. I mean, he had Toure a couple times. He hit him in the hands once in the end zone. That pass to Lure, I thought Lure kind of slowed up in his route there at the end, or else that would have been money. It just seemed like he was comfortable. Like last week when we were watching it, he looked comfortable in the pocket, but he looked like he was taking too much time. Today, he finally had that sense of urgency with looking comfortable at the same time, and I think that's a step in the right direction for Nebraska offensively, because you're going to have to establish that run, but you need that passing game, that deep passing game to open up those holes and help out that O-line so they don't have to block so many guys.
Yeah. I don't think Martinez. I can't really complain about Martinez throwing the ball today, to be honest with you. I think he had one ball where it was a little bit too late, and he could have thrown a little bit earlier. Other than that, though, I thought he threw the ball really efficiently. I really liked. I liked seeing those couple of out routes to Austin Allen, and they went to it back to back. And those were nice throws from Martinez that he hasn't been able to make in the past, where he's some of those simple out routes out of the backfield to the tight end, where he just kind of doesn't have that touch on it. And today they're perfect. And Allen was able to grab it and cut up field. And I also thought the wide receivers did a pretty dang good job of blocking today. And I don't know if Nebraska had a holding call on him today.
They only had one penalty from what I know, and it was that false start late in the game.
And it's Fordham, but man, I don't care. That's amazing. That's great. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, leave your comments in the comment section. We'll throw them on here. We'll talk about stuff you guys want to talk about. We got some stats down the bottom to look from the overall game today. 64 times is the amount of times Nebraska ran the ball today. And if you go look at the box score, there's plenty of guys in that 18 to 40-yard range, because there was a lot of different guys getting 6 to 10 carries. So it's good to see that. Smothers getting in there as well. You see his acceleration, and that is ridiculous. He is so fast. And, he fumbles. Young mistake. It's late in the game. He was trying to make something happen. Even though it didn't matter, you're still trying to as a backup quarterback. But, it was good to see what Nebraska could do overall today. Like you said, shaky start. I was getting a little bit concerned for a bit there, but then it just seemed like something flipped, and they just got after it. And I don't know, it's kind of the first time I've seen halftime adjustments where Nebraska actually makes adjustments in order to stop the other team. Because I think a lot of the times I've seen other teams make adjustments and Nebraska's like, oh, we did fine, we'll stick with it. And then they get burned in the second half. And I thought today there was adjustments. Look at that defense came out fire. I think it was only 20 or only 40 yards allowed in the second half. They were dominant. They did their job. We saw several turnovers. Deontay Williams making some good plays. JoJo Doman making a good play. Even though he slipped earlier in the game and it costed the Huskers that one touchdown. Overall, not bad for the Huskers. Good win. like you said, so many things went right. 2 for 13 on third down. Thought that was another key stat. If you hold teams on third down, you're going to do pretty well. So good to see a big running game too. I know Frost wants to get that running game going, and it was good to see that. But, overall, any other thoughts?
No, I thought to your point, I thought Smothers had a really nice burst. I thought he threw the for not going from really no experience to that. I thought he threw the ball decently, and I thought he looks really fast. I mean, I would love to see him maybe get to the second level on a couple of those, but he definitely looked really fast. Quick hit on special teams. I don't think special teams was terrible. Besides the one Cam Taylor deal. I mean, other than that, it was nice to see Culp put them all through. It was nice to see him make a field goal. I don't know how far that was, maybe 35, 40 yards. It was a nice field goal low, and we had a couple kicks through the end zone. We didn't punt that much. And then just my other hit maybe on defense is I thought we had pretty good linebacker play today. I thought that Kolarvik, I thought he was really fundamentally sound, as well as Luke Reimer had a really good game.
Yeah, those are two guys that, Kolarvik didn't get much time last week, but Reimer was one of the guys last week, but I didn't think he performed very well. So it's good to see those two play really well. I think the Huskers sometimes on those third and short and second and short, when it's obvious running down, they need to get a little bit more of a sense of urgency and get up there, because I think sometimes they let that 3 or 4 yard play happen. Saw it happen in the first half where they kept getting these small first downs, and I wanted more of a push on that line and those linebackers to fill those holes quicker. But I think they made that adjustment in the second half pretty well. And the coverage was outstanding. I know they missed a couple throws. I did like their quarterback, though. I thought he had a good arm, but I think he got a little bit, I think the announcers hit on it perfectly. He got a little bit rattled, and then he missed some throws that he should have made that could have got Fordham some more points, but Nebraska, the defense will take that. A couple things finally going their way, and the offense just churning out yards and time of possession is something you want to see from the Huskers down the stretch of this season. So that was good to see. But, yeah, I mean, to your point on the Allen stuff, I loved seeing those big receivers like Manning, Betts, Toure out there blocking, and they were able to hold their own because they're so big. That's something Nebraska hasn't had in the past. You get guys with, Omar Manning's size. He doesn't even have to do much blocking. It's more just standing in the way because he's so big. And Austin Allen was just rumbling for yards after that, too. Once he turned it upfield, he'd get an extra 5 or 6 as soon as he made contact with someone.
Right. Yeah. I thought the defense played overall well, and I thought that was nice to see. It was nice to see some of the young guys get in on defense. I think they rotated in a lot of the second string guys, at least in the secondary, almost immediately in the second half after they went up like 38-7. A lot of those younger guys were getting in there. I think I saw Marquise Buford, Pola Gates was in there, so it was nice to see those guys getting in there. Which they can all play too. So that was good to see. And then I hope that they can build on this. I hope that they can build on this and they can go into next week. And I mean, as terrible as that first week loss was, I think we'd feel a lot better going into Oklahoma 2-1. I mean, it wouldn't feel great, but I think it would feel fine going in there 2-1. And you watch the Oklahoma game today, and I think they only won by 5 or 6, I believe, today against Tulane. I mean. So go watch what Tulane did and, give it your best shot when you go there. And like I said, hopefully 2-1 when you go to Norman.
Yeah, they got some problems too. Defensively, they were a mess today. I had that game pulled up on my computer. They were an absolute mess. So they almost blew that game against Tulane. Look, Tulane had the ball, and their quarterback, he was a yard short. Yep. If he gets that first down, they're 30 yards away from potentially beating them. So, yep. I mean, I think Oklahoma's got their own problems. I mean, Nebraska's obviously still got things to fix. But to your point on the second team defense, a couple guys that I saw Johnson, the Ohio State transfer, he was out there a little bit at the cornerback position. I thought Maga Clements might be botching that name. I thought he did really well filling the holes. And Jordan Riley was a beast on that front. I think he had 3 or 4 tackles, and he wasn't even in there that long. He was making plays in the backfield too, just throwing linemen. So good things to see. Second team defense making plays. It allows you to have more depth and rotation. Keep guys fresh as the season goes on. But I think the biggest thing today that Husker fans wanted to see was that offense look fluid and efficient, and it did. And the O-line finally made some improvements in run blocking. Again, like last week, I know we talked about it. Pass blocking we thought was really good last week, it was good again, very good. But I just thought the run blocking wasn't aggressive enough until the second half. And I thought they started to churn out some yards because that O-line was getting after it. And that second team O-line too, they were getting nasty out there. I saw them pushing people. I thought it was awesome. So overall, good things. Let's see. We got a comment actually from my dad. Biggest concern this team still has O-line. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Man, that's a good question. Because I still think it's probably Martinez at quarterback, just because he's still got to prove it against a bigger team, I believe, in my eyes. I think the O-line is concerning, but I think that they do enough right now. I just think if Martinez can play like he did today, especially in the pass game, that's going to open up more things in the run game and let the offensive line work a little bit easier there with the run game.
Yeah, and to me, I don't know, I thought the defense looked a little bit inconsistent at the very beginning of the game, but I thought the adjustments were great. The whole staff did a fantastic job adjusting. So for me, it is the O-line, and I think it's in particular the run blocking. Because if that run blocking is aggressive and they're getting push and you're churning out 4 or 5 yards with the running backs and then you add in Martinez's legs, it's going to open up a lot in the passing game. So I think it is the run blocking. But I think that's a good point on Martinez because we still don't know. I mean, yeah, he had 5 or 6 seconds today every single time he wanted to throw. So it makes sense that he was 18 for 23 or whatever he was because he had so much time. So I think the run blocking and the quarterback play, I think it kind of works hand in hand because you need the run to set up the pass and vice versa. So I think that's a really good question, but we'll kind of get a key on Buffalo. Again, it's not the best opponent to know things, but they looked pretty good in their first game, and they've historically been a good MAC team that has competed well in bowl games. They've been a good team. I know they lost their head coach and they got a new coaching staff this year, but they got some dudes and they got a good running back. They got an experienced quarterback, some good weapons on the outside. So I think it's a good test, not necessarily a tune-up because I think it's actually a test for what we've seen from Nebraska this year. And then, hopefully Nebraska can go handle business and then head into an Oklahoma game. And who knows where Oklahoma's going to be. I don't know who their next opponent is before they face Nebraska. Do you have any clue?
I think it's somebody pretty good, actually. I'm not certain, but I think it could be a decent opponent. I'm not sure, though.
I'm currently looking it up. Let's see.
Maybe I'm thinking Ohio State and Oregon.
It's Western Carolina, so they get a little tune-up too.
Yeah, they do. Okay.
But let's see. Another question that comes in here. Who fumbled in the game? It was Smothers. I think that was the only fumble, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and knock on wood, I thought the running backs have done a great job of holding on to the ball. You've seen – I saw some guys swinging at the ball today, and I thought that the running backs have had good ball security. So, really hope that continues because, that sure does help.
Yeah, and if you really want to watch – I still think Irvin's trying to get his footing out there, and Morrison just didn't have as much as Step. It's pretty obvious. I think Step's running back number 1. But if you really want to watch a guy that just – does not stop, it's Step. He got hit a couple times early in the game and he wasn't churning out very many yards, and then all of a sudden you just saw 8. And it was a credit to the blocking a little bit, but he hit. He'd go and get hit at 5 or 6 and he was getting 8. So I think, that's what you get with Step, 237 pounds. You got a big dude, not the best lateral movement guy, but he's going to get you those yards when you need them. And I think that's why they want that combination of Irvin and Step, because I think Irvin has that lateral explosion that Step is missing in his game because of his size.
Yeah, and quickly, I know we're kind of harping on this run game deal, but I really think that if Nebraska can figure out a way to get just on first down, even in a run, just 3, 4, 5 yards, and setting up a 2nd and 6, or a 2nd and 5 gives you a lot more options than sometimes when we're running on first down and we're it's 2nd and 9, and then at that point there's not as many options. So I think that specifically that first down, if we're running the ball on first down to get a little bit more production there, I think it'll really open up more options for them.
Yeah, I think the other big thing that I noticed this week from last week's difference. Last week, no screenplay at all. This week you had it. It was kind of a different hybrid type of screen. Like those ones to Allen are technically like screens because you got guys blocking for him. But I thought they involved the screen game more, and it was the good way. Not like last year. I thought last year some of those were terrible. But I think that you have to have it in this game because you got to make the game a little bit horizontal, spread defenses out so you can run the ball up the middle. So I like that addition. I think that's a big improvement from Frost and the offensive staff for this week. I'm just glad to see adjustments because I'll tell you what, there hasn't been a ton, I've thought, in the Frost era, and I think that's been the one thing that has been just nagging Husker fans. But I really think that there was a ton today, but again, it's Fordham. So who knows? We'll see coming up here as the season progresses and you get into some bigger games. Yeah, and another comment right here. Yeah, we just talked about Oklahoma. We don't know about them. Rattler did not look good. He threw a couple interceptions. He was forcing things. Their run game was hit or miss, and their defense was awful. So who knows?
Yeah, I think I spoke on this a couple weeks ago before Illinois, but I believe Oklahoma's down to just 2 scholarship running backs, so that's kind of probably putting a little bit of stress on their offense. And Oklahoma's got a ton of talent on defense, but in past years we've definitely seen them struggle on defense. So I don't want to look too much at the Oklahoma game right now. I really want them to really come out and make a great showing, and hopefully another sellout crowd versus Buffalo, and take care of business. But I don't think that going into Norman and playing a decent game versus them is that out of the question after what we saw today from both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Pretty much hit on a lot of it. I thought that, the defense really got better as the game went on. Good to see Omar Manning. Good to see guys like Alante Brown and Betts get in there and make some plays. Because I think sometimes they lack, those playmakers, it seems like, in the deep passing game. And I think that's where Toure, and he was open so much today. But Omar Manning had a nice big catch as well. So hopefully you see him. And I know he's going to be out there because, with that size, if you're going to run screen game, he's got to be out there blocking. It's the biggest guy you can have out there. So I think he's a big addition out on that edge. But I think the size of Nebraska is different this year. I just hope they use it in the right way. And I thought that they did today. But long season ahead of us. We'll see what Nebraska has in store. Buffalo coming up next Saturday should be a good one. Any final thoughts?
No. I think that Nebraska handled business today like they should have. I think they can build off it. I hope that Martinez can continue to throw the ball like he did today, clean up some things, and if they can stay consistent with the penalties like they did today and just play more of a clean game like they did today, I think they give themselves just such a better shot in any game that we play the rest of the year. So just playing clean, being able to hit some of those passes, and hopefully Step can really come up and be that dude now.
Yeah, and I'm much happier with the coaching staff today. I will say adjustments were made.
Yeah.
Huskers looked a lot better. Any thoughts on – did you watch the end of the Penn State game? Any thoughts on that one?
Man, that was a wild game.
Birch didn't look good at all.
No, I didn't think so. But that was a crazy game. So we'll see where Wisconsin goes. I think they'll be fine. But I didn't have Wisconsin. I didn't have Penn State winning that game. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I actually had Penn State winning that game. I was big on Penn State. I wasn't big on the quarterback play in that game from either side before going in and after watching it, but I was just big on. I thought that Penn State had something to prove this year. After last year, I think they felt embarrassed, and that defense was tough today. They really were. We got 2 more comments. Let's see if we can get to those real quick. Good improvement. What was the biggest improvement from last week and last year you guys saw? Chris, you got anything?
I thought it was the passing game. Martinez just hitting wide open guys. The guy's wide open, throwing the ball, and I thought he was able to do that. So I thought that was just nice to see.
Yeah, and I think when you saw the replays too, and they showed the guys running those 15 and outs or whatever, 20 and outs, and it was the longer developing routes, I think he's hitting them. He's throwing the ball on time too. He's not waiting. It's not like the guy was waiting there wide open. He's hitting them on time. They're making the catch on the run, and they're able to get upfield and get more yards. So I think that was probably the biggest improvement. Let's see, another one. Michigan State looked good. Thoughts on us versus Michigan State? I don't want to jump too much into the future. of the Nebraska thing. I think Michigan State did their running back look really good.
That number,
Walker had an outstanding game, but also Northwestern looked terrible on defense. They looked awful.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's Northwestern's turn to take a year off or what, but I hope it is because, I mean, they've been great. They've been solid, but I mean, it's still week one, so we'll see how things settle down. But I thought Michigan State looked fast, so definitely it'll be.
Yeah, no, 100%. What do they call it right now? Transfer U. With how many transfers they got in and out of there, a lot of turnover for Michigan State. But I will say, of Northwestern, they have one of the least experienced groups returning on the defensive end in the entirety of college football. They only had 3 or 4 guys returning from last year. So it's a young group. It might take some time. That's why they didn't look good in week one. So I don't know how much of it's a credit is to Michigan State or if it's bad on Northwestern, but I guess, let's give it a few games, see what we got from both ends. But overall, this is a great one to end it. Great game, GBR. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up right here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Go watch some football. Enjoy the rest of the day. A couple great games coming up. Iowa, Indiana's on right now if you want to tune into that as well. Thanks for joining, Chris. Appreciate it, though.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Good stuff.